Why is voice work so powerful in healing and discovering trauma in the body? Well, try to think about it like this. Your body is very sensitive. Whether you identify as a sensitive person or not, the truth is everybody is wired for sensitivity. Everybody has an innate sense of intuition. Some people have more pronounced intuitive abilities. Some people are more sensitive than others. But the truth is, everybody has evolved to be intuitive. And therefore, everybody is picking up subtle signals from other people and other places. So when you encounter another human being and you communicate with each other, your body is like a radio antenna. Your body is picking up signals from the energy system of the other human being. This can be done silently, but it's even more powerful when voices are being used. When somebody speaks, I can literally hear if there's tension in the body. I can hear if there's fear or nervousness or excitement. I can hear those emotions because I've trained myself to be able to pick up on them. Now, whether you're trained to do this or not, you actually do this all the time. You just may not be aware of it. But when you listen to somebody speak, your ears and your body, the antenna, is picking up clues as to the emotional state of that person. So your subtle body, again, I'm not talking about conscious awareness. You may not be able to cognitively identify the things I'm saying right now, but subconsciously, your subtle body is able to pick up on clues as to the emotional state of the other person through the voice. Let me give you an example. When somebody is nervous, the muscles around their throat tighten up. And so that causes the pitch to increase. So when you hear somebody speaking with an unusually high voice, I don't mean people who just have naturally high pitched voices. I mean the kind of high pitched voice that's caused by tension in the throat. You may not be aware of this to identify it, but your subtle intuitive ability is picking up on the fact that this person is under some kind of stress. This person may be masking it. They may be smiling. They may appear to have a perfect life, but your subtle energy body knows that this person is under some kind of stress. And I'm not saying we should be judgmental towards them because they may be going through something that requires compassion from us. But we're not talking about the ability to choose compassion or not. We're just talking about primitive states of our intuitive selves picking up on subtle clues of another person's emotional state. And when your body senses that somebody else is under stress, your body signals that this is a red flag and that you should be very cautious because primitively speaking, a person under stress is a danger. They are capable of flying off the handle. They are capable of um, flipping out into a violent reaction. Now, of course, you know people, you know who they really are in their core, and you know that the people you care about are probably not going to do this. I'm just talking about what your intuitive sense is picking up on. And so the reason why the voice is so powerful to work with when we're dealing with trauma is because we have people around today who are living in a constant state of fight or flight. They are living in a constant state of stress. And you can hear it in their voices. There are people who once upon a time had a very relaxed way of speaking, and now they have this very choked sound in their voice. And there's a lot of tension that they have around here. And because we live in a world that doesn't acknowledge the voice as meaningful in any way, no healing practitioner ever thinks to address it. The doctors don't pay attention to your sound, the sound of your voice. Your therapist doesn't pay attention to the sound of your voice. Your voice teacher doesn't realize that the reason why you have chronic tension is because you have unresolved trauma from your childhood that has never, ever been addressed. And so it's important that we start thinking about the voice as um, a map, a roadmap to, first of all, understanding what's going on in your body and also how we can work our way out of trauma. In my blog, which I have on Substack, it's called Raw Vegan No Friends, which I know the title probably doesn't sound relatable to this, but believe me, there are crossovers. But in my blog, I'm going to post an article soon about the body and how trauma is stored in the body. I'll link to it below. But the reason I'm bringing it up now is because not only is the voice a roadmap to figuring out where trauma lies in your body and what is causing it, the voice is also the cure. If you start using your voice in a way that is purposeful, intentional, if you start doing certain voice exercises, you can you can literally massage the trauma out of your body. I know that sounds weird, but just stay with me for a moment. Imagine that there's trauma from your childhood lodged in your chest. You might think about somebody who has asthma. Somebody who has asthma, their lungs constrict, they can't take in enough air, and so they have to take a inhaler. Now they're not constantly struggling for air. Things trigger asthma attacks. I almost said anxiety attacks because that's what I personally think is really happening. I think asthma is really caused by chronic stress and anxiety. I think a lot of it begins in childhood. Mostly children are diagnosed with asthma. I think what's happening is these children are living in a very scary environment where they do not feel safe. And when you don't feel safe, your breath becomes constricted. You struggle to breathe. If it reaches a certain tipping point, you can feel like you're about to die, which is what an anxiety attack feels like, but it gets diagnosed as asthma. So let's say you have trauma living in your chest, and that's why you have these asthma attacks or anxiety attacks where you feel the tension right here. Well, if you start singing in the low end of your register and you start trying to pay attention to feeling the vibrations right here in your chest, then you are going to send the vibrations of your voice into your chest and you keep singing that area, the vibrations are going to do what they would do to a body. So if you have a massage therapist who works out the muscles in your biceps, that eventually that pushes the toxins out of the muscles that have accumulated from natural stress. Activity, physical activity causes stress to the muscles. The massage therapist works it out, and it's sore for a little bit, but then the pain goes away. Well, we have that same kind of tension living inside of our bodies, and it's from chronic stress and tension from years and years and years and years of living and not being aware of it. So if you sing and send the vibrations to that area, well, your singing voice, it's a shaky waveform. You keep sending the vibrations, sending them there, sending them there. What's going to happen is that those vibrations from your voice are going to eventually break loose that tension in your chest. You're going to start to feel better. That is why voice work is so important for anybody working with trauma. And it's also important for voice teachers to be aware of because I know you didn't sign up for a social work degree, but you're kind of on the front lines of healing. And so it's good for you to understand how trauma works in the body and how you can help it get released. So I hope this video has helped you understand more about how to free your voice, and I'll see you next time.